Hi guys, it's already mid-July. I wanted to make a monthly vlog, but I had a crazy schedule from June until yesterday, so this video is going to be a wrap-up of my days from June to mid-July. Last month was very productive and super busy at the same time. I launched a Draw Together session on my Patreon, had a book deadline in mid July, a deadline for a sticker book collaboration project, and another project, which is kind of my dream project with Seoul Art Center in Korea. And on top of this, of course, there was small regular deadlines for other projects. And I'm working part time as a graphic designer, so I was checking the timeline every day to ensure I didn't miss any deadlines. I feel grateful to have projects but also stressed at the same time. But well, I made it through and finally I'm editing the vlog now. Okay, no more spoilers, let's get started. Let's talk about the book I was working on, The Fox Goes North. First, I think I mentioned it in the last vlog. It is about caravan animals and the fox who travel to the north to see the northern lights. It is such a touching and charming story. I had a sketch deadline in May, then the color deadline was supposed to be mid July. There were two rounds of sketch revisions, and then I didn't hear anything from the publisher, so I was just relaxing until mid June, which was my fault. Then the AD sent me an email with an urgent request for cover art. That was when I discovered I didn't have any spare Prussian blue pencils. I used Caran d'Ache Pablo Prussian Blue and Luminous Prussian Blue for this book, but I thought I had lots of spares, but I didn't. I had many ultramarines, but no Prussian Blues. So it was such a nightmare. The closest art supply shop near me is still about 30 minutes away by car, and it was closed during the weekends. So I had to wait until Monday to get the pencils. From the moment I set up a timeline to finish this project in a month, I had one cover art, one inner page of a map, 20 vignettes, 9 half pages, 8 full pages, and 7 double page spreads. Some take longer than others, some are simpler, so I mixed them together and worked on them almost every day. The most challenging part of working on this book is ensuring the characters and elements were consistent. The sizes of the characters and the look of the house were particularly challenging, especially the roof tiles. But I loved working on this monochrome illustration, especially in these crazy summer hot days, which makes me feel cooler. I finally sent this off to the publisher. It will be published in November by Scholastics. I cannot wait to share the cover art and see the actual book. When I went to the Blick Art to grab pencils, I of course had to pick up something else, like pen pastel. I've heard about this recently from my drawing buddy, and I was curious. So I just picked up yellow oxide. The first drawing I tried with pen pastel was negative space drawing. I have been thinking of loosening my shapes and colors recently, so it was perfect timing to experiment. I really loved how vibrant the color is and the smooth the texture. I bought more colors, then 40 more colors later. So I decided to work on the Seoul Art Center poster with pen pastel and colored pencil. At this point, I only had 13 colors and I knew I couldn't use all of them in one piece. I had no idea how it would turn out. I was so nervous, and since this is about drawing people, I was even more nervous because I'm not very familiar with working on human figures. I slowly filled in the characters with pastels and pencils and ended up loving how it turned out. It was warm and looked very soft, creating a dreamy atmosphere as if it was emerging from the instruments. I used cheap makeup tools like eyeshadow tips and the foundation sponge to apply the pastel. The paper I used is Arche hot press paper. As far as I know, regular pastel paper has tools to grab the powder, but pen pastel adheres to almost any surface, which is why it works well on hot press paper. I made small quick drawings with pastels at the end of the days. I think I love working with dry mediums the best. I think I'll make more drawings with pen pastels and color pencils. If you haven't tried, you should. It still makes messy tabletop, but less messy than stick pastel, and love the colors. And I started Draw together on my Patreon. My Patreon community is still very small, so I was kind of worried no one would come, but thank goodness Nina came by. And we had fun talking and drawing together. It was my first time drawing with someone else. When I draw, I usually play music in the background, listen to scary stories, or just have Netflix on. But having someone to draw with was so fun. We talked while drawing and shared what we created. Cannot wait for the next session. Oh, and this was so fun. I've got an X2 laser cutter. I have been eyeing this product for a long time. I love making things, but I am afraid of using chainsaws or any other wood cutting tools. They are too scary, right? With this laser cutter, I can easily cut wood, engrave on it, or even do screen printing. So far, I've made a personalized drawing board, a stamp, and screen prints on the tote and the t-shirt. I'm still in the phase of learning and getting familiar with this new machine. I will probably have more time to play with it in August, hopefully. And I went to my first pottery class on July 1st. I thought it would cover both wheel and hand building techniques, but it turned out to be a wheel only class, which was a bit disappointing, but maybe this was meant to be, I don't know. It was so hard to shape the clay on the wheel. You know how in the tutorial videos it looks so easy to form the shape, but it really wasn't. I had to use a lot of strength in my hands and shoulders to make the clay rise on the wheel. I just wanted to draw on the pottery pieces, but I'm not sure where this will lead me. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention this book. I worked on the How to Draw series from 2000, probably 17 to 19. And the books draw 62 animals and make them cute, and magical creatures were published in probably 2018, I'm not sure. But the publisher decided to combine these two books with a new cover after a couple of years later. I remember they sent me the PDF version for confirmation, and then I totally forgot about it. Then there was the shipping box from Hatchet Books yesterday, and inside were copies of this new book. It's always exciting to see a new book, right? This sums up my past month and a half pretty much. It was a hectic period, juggling multiple projects while working part-time as a designer. I'm grateful to have both projects and a part-time job that can pay the bills after a year of having no job and only a few projects here and there. As a freelance illustrator, it's hard to say no to any opportunities because the workload is unpredictable. Sometimes you have too many projects and other times not at all. I think this is how I build up my career. Unlike working a 5 to 9 job in an office, figuring out my own sustainable way to make a living. I just wish I can have a little break next month. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.